I breathe in the air you breathe out, baby, and I believe in what you're about. I breathe in the air you breathe out, baby, and I believe in what you're about. Yeah, yeah, you're the hard pill to swallow. Yeah, yeah, so dense and oh so hard. Yeah, yeah, you left and said I couldn't follow. Yeah.
Dear listeners and viewers, hello and welcome to this new episode of Spectra. Previously on this program, we talked about the dilemma of second-generation immigrants and all the different difficulties they might go through. We also talked about art, the international language, the transcultural, transcontinental language. And tonight, I'm really delighted to be accompanied by a live embodiment of both.
Hey guys.
So accompanied by Malak Sound, the talented singer, and the talented musician as well, I would say.
Thank you.
Malak, welcome to the program.
I am so happy to be here.
And thank you for coming. So to start off, Malak, can you introduce yourself to us a little bit? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Okay, there's a lot, so I'll try to give you like the short version.
Okay.
So hi, my name is Malak Sound. I am a musician, singer-songwriter from Egypt. I immigrated to Canada in 2011, and I studied music at Carleton University in Ottawa for 4 years. And since then have been a practicing musician in Toronto and Ottawa and touring generally. That's generally what I've been doing for the past couple of years, just touring. I did the West Coast, I did the East Coast, I did Egypt a couple of times, and yeah.
Okay, great. So we're accompanied tonight by an artist of versatile talents, really. So how did your passion for singing or music start? Like, what was the motivator for that, and how long ago was that too?
Ooh, it started when I was really young. I want to say since I was 7, I wanted to be a singer, and I think it started from like just a general like desire to, you know, impress people and be on stage and show off or something, or be the center of attention. It became very artistic it became very much about the art when I went to university and I started really like learning about music. Like, you know what I mean? And before I was just, you know, like just a kid trying to copy all of the popular singers like Christina Aguilera and Alicia Keys and all those people. And then a lot of people say that you don't need a degree in music to be able to pursue it, and I believe that. But for me personally, I think the degree is where I started calling myself an artist, not just a singer. So when I was younger, my mother took me to piano lessons, and then I told her I really want to sing. And then she heard from a friend of hers that singing lessons were a thing. I didn't even know they were a thing. I didn't know you could learn to sing. I thought you just kind of did it. And I was very loud. I was a very loud child. So she's like, well, if she's going to be singing all the time, she might as well be good at it. So she took me to lessons. and that's it. The rest is history. Here I am.
Okay. So, you know, you started off like, you want to be a star, a diva. Okay. Yes. So you want to be like there on stage for people to, you know, say, oh, here is Malak, you know, like the superstar is here, everyone.
I used to put on little shows for my family when I was young too, like in the living room and stuff. I just I was such an attention-seeking child.
So tell me, like, when you started singing, did you start off singing in Arabic or in English?
In English. I would say most of my singing history has been in English, for sure. Yeah. That's when I started. And then actually I didn't start singing Arabic until I moved to Canada, actually. Which is, I know it seems odd, but that's the truth. Like I didn't start doing it until university, when I joined the Egyptian Students Association, and then they were having, you know, some events, and they're like, oh, we need a singer. I'm like, I sing. And they're like, do you sing Arabic? And I'm like, no. And then a friend of mine who played tabla at the time said, well, like I can teach you some songs and then we can play together. And that's how I started.
Yeah, so just for our non-Egyptian or non-Arabic speakers, Tabla is like it's an oriental drum, or sometimes called darabuka as well. So it's like a drum that you'd hold and then you start beating, and it has a very distinctive sound.
It's very, it like strikes you. Like,
Exactly, it
I
has a
love
sharp
the sound.
sound.
It's
It
so
has a
sharp.
sharp sound,
Yeah.
a very sharp.
It'll
sound.
move your body. You know what I mean? Like it's different than a drum set. Like I just find it so, yeah, like you said, just sharp. I like it.
Okay, so this was Malak as an artist. Like again, to put it in a nutshell. But again, how was Malak as an immigrant
That's a good question.
coming to Canada? Yeah.
It's a really good question. I can be honest, right? I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
absolutely.
completely honest.
Definitely.
As soon as we moved to Canada, it was kind of not very great circumstances under which we moved. We moved because, you know, I wanted to be an artist. My brother's also an artist, and at the time, it wasn't really like the best place to study art in Egypt. It wasn't really,
Okay.
you know. So when we came here, I was kind of like, okay, so I'm here now. I need to be Canadian. I need to fit in. You know, I need to fit
How
in as
long
fast
ago
as
was that?
it was 8 years ago. So
Okay.
2011. So all I wanted to do was fit in. So I thought, okay, I just need to shed this identity, this Egyptian identity. I need to just shed it. I'm Canadian now. I need to focus on just being that. And sometimes I wouldn't even tell people, like when they're like, where are you from? I'd be like, Ottawa. You know, I wouldn't
Okay.
say, you know. And then over time, I felt a bit lost, you know, because it's really hard. Like especially when you grow up somewhere. I was 16, right? When you grow up somewhere and then all of a sudden you're somewhere new, completely different culture, different customs, different, I don't know, just different everything, different language. So it was really hard for me. And then slowly over the past couple of years, especially, I started becoming a bit prouder of where I come from, because I was always happy to be an Egyptian, but I thought that other people wouldn't appreciate it. So that's why I wouldn't really talk about it much. But then I don't know if can I say like the voice and stuff like that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
So like I said, over the past couple of years, I started becoming a bit more vocal about where I come from and who I am. And then the summer, I got the opportunity to audition for The Voice Middle East, the singing TV show, which is a whole story I'm sure we'll talk about. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
But long story short, after going there and mingling and collaborating with a bunch of other Middle Eastern artists from everywhere, Tunisia, Syria, Algeria, you name it, every single Arab country. I started thinking like, wow, these people are so cultured and talented and educated, and and I was like, hey, I'm from here. Like, this is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So when I came back, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't need to sacrifice my Middle Eastern identity or my Egyptian identity in order to also honor my Canadian identity, because I do consider myself Canadian. So since then, I've just been like very vocal. I'm just like, I'm Egyptian and I'm Canadian and I like it. You know?
Okay, so when you first came here, and this is a very important point, you sort of concealed or kept a low profile about your cultural background.
Yes.
And was this related to specific stereotypes people had, or that you had yourself about?
I think it's a bit of both, because
Okay.
I think a lot of it was a bit, in my head, like, what are people going to think about me? This is what I think people think about people like me.
Okay.
But then there were also situations where I had a negative reaction to my background. I was, can I say, it's not like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was babysitting. I used to be a babysitter for multiple families. And one time I was babysitting these two children, and their grandmother was in the house. And there was some kind of crime that was being reported in the newspaper. And she said, oh, it's because of all those Arabs. We just let too many of them in.
Okay.
You know? And that made me really, really upset. And I did confront her about it. I'm like, well, I'm Arab and I've never hurt anybody. And she got really embarrassed. But it's stuff like that that kind of made me be like, okay, well, maybe I just shouldn't say anything, So I think that was it.
And what was the spark, that sort of kindled or rekindled your pride in your background? Like, what was it? What was the changing point?
I think when at the point when it was gradual, just like starting, it was just a growing desire to just be myself.
Okay.
I really do believe that you do not live your happiest life unless you're completely and proudly yourself, and that it's everybody else's responsibility around you to accept you for who you are. Because if you accept you for who you are, then you're living your most authentic life, I believe. So that's kind of where it gradually started. And then like the spark, like the big, like, I guess, bang was when I was on the show and I saw all these other people from other, Middle Eastern countries, and they were just so cool. And I was in awe of them. I was looking at them like, oh, like these people are so cool. And, as the experience went on, I kind of started considering myself one of them again. And you know what I mean? And just my relationship with them and how much they showed me love and I loved them. And we just became very, very, very close, because we were in close quarters all the time doing the show. I think that's what made me be like, you know what, like these people are cool and I'm happy to be one of them. And I want everybody to know that.
So again, because this is a very critical topic, really. And, because I think it rings a bell to a lot of our listeners and viewers too. So how were your bonds when you came? Like you created some bonds, definitely social 100%. And psychological bonds to your cultural background, maybe in Egypt before coming here. But you said like in university, or like you had the opportunity to interact with other people from the same background. So why didn't they, affect you or like sort of motivate you to reveal rather than conceal your identity? Why did it have to wait until, The Voice?
That's a good question. I think maybe because it felt like they were a bit in the same boat as me. Okay. Maybe not as intensely as I was experiencing it, but they were also like, okay, we're here. We, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. They wanted to also consider themselves part of the society that we all lived in. Whereas the people that I met in The Voice, they're just taking a trip from the countries that they are from. Okay. And they're all speaking in Arabic and they're all, they have no desire to, I was the only Canadian there.
I understand.
So
yeah.
I think that's probably it. It's because there's just no filter. There's absolutely no filter with these people.
And do you think that art was a factor?
Yes.
Because, do you think there is a specific stigma about art in like Middle East maybe, or like Arabic culture? Like, was art a factor like that made you try to sort of cover this identity? Go incognito,
You're asking such good questions that I've never had to think about. I think yes. I think that maybe because a lot of the reactions that I would get when I would go back home to visit Egypt, and people would tell me, so what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a musician. And they're like, no, but like, what do you actually do? You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely part of it. Like, I didn't think about that before, but you're right. Yes, I think it is part of it.
So like, it's taken lightly usually. Art is taken lightly.
Yes, or it's not considered a serious career. Although I believe that a lot of our, a lot of the global successes that we've had as Egyptians and a lot of the positive parts of our reputation are because of artists. Like Kulthum was known everywhere. She's an artist. Okay. She's not an engineer there's nothing wrong with engineer. I'm just saying, like, artists are great too, and they can achieve great things as well as doctors and accountants and engineers and what have you. Absolutely.
And moving to the other side here, you're Canadian as well.
Yes.
So how did you see the word Canadian when you first came? And how do you see the word Canadian today? Is there any discrepancy? Or is it the same?
I'm so excited to answer this question. Yeah, okay, so when I first landed in Canada, I knew nothing. I didn't know. We landed on July 1st, and then the pilot was like, "Welcome to Canada and Happy Canada Day." I was like, "What?" I don't even, it was all so fast how it happened. I didn't take the time to, Google Canada and what Canada's about. So first of all, I didn't know it was as multicultural as it is. I had no idea there were so many people from everywhere. I thought it was all just, Caucasian people living in Canada, but no, it's people from everywhere. And there was the stereotypical, like, Canadians are nice, so I just kind of like assumed that. And then I think a turning point in what Canadian meant for me was when I went to see the Canada Day. Wait, what was it? I think it was the November 11th ceremony at Parliament. And
so like a Remembrance Day
ceremony, yes.
Yeah,
and they were doing a march with all of the the soldiers, and I don't know what they're called, but they're the ones that have the white helmets, and they were marching.
Okay, and there is like bugler.
Yes.
along with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were all marching with these white helmets, but then one of them was, I guess he was Indian, or I'm not sure where he was from, but he was wearing a white turban instead.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, like that's so cool. They allowed him to do that. They allowed him to express his identity in a Canadian context because he considers himself both. And when I saw that, I started crying because I was like, that's Canada to me. That's what Canada is.
Okay.
And I think my understanding of Canada like landed in my heart in that moment. Yeah.
So you see it as an all-encompassing?
Yes, all-inclusive.
All-inclusive
where
as
everybody can just be themselves and be proud of there's so many dual identities, like there's so many individuals with dual identities in Canada, and I find that it's the best place that I've been where you can express both, and obviously there's good and bad people everywhere, but I feel like the bad ones are a minority here.
And did you experience like growing up here as well, because you came at the age of 16 and,
Yes.
and like sweet 16, which is like a critical age, really.
I was very angry.
Yeah. And so this is the age when people start like really speaking up, like having their own identity and so on and so forth. And it's sort of a little bit troublesome, even if not in Canada.
Yeah.
So how are your years like growing up and passing through from like 16, 17 and so on here in Canada? Like were there any contradictions between things you were maybe told at home to do but outside of home people thought otherwise? And did this ever happen?
So obviously when you grow up in somewhere like Egypt, it's a bit less of Canada's a bit more, I think, open-minded as far as the customs and traditions and all that stuff. So I think that was a bit confusing for me in the beginning. I was told to think that a lot of things were wrong when here they were just being treated like whatever. They're just things that people do. So I think it's the
For
challenge.
Instance, like any specific examples?
Like drinking, for example.
Okay.
Like that was something that when I grew up, people were like, "Don't do that. That's horrible." And then here, people are just like, we're going drinking this weekend, and it's just so nonchalant, just like whatever. So I think learning kind of what I still believed in and what I'm just kind of gonna keep a distance from was the biggest challenge for me. But I think for any immigrant, as soon as you spend some time here and you start to learn about yourself and understand yourself, you just create your own values and understand what matters to you.
Definitely. Like a lot of strings here that we need to deal with. So let's take a musical break. Let's listen to one of your songs.
Okay.
Enjoy that together. So everybody, don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Oh, Mr. Gatekeeper, I just want a quick word. I'm no public speaker, I just wanna be heard. Don't turn around, hold up, I just wanna hear from you. Cause I feel decades older, and it's been a year or two. I won't be too out there, loud, too proud, I just play my part. Relax, breathe and breathe, sit down, but it aches my heart. The gates to the kingdom are shut tight. Tell me you can't let me go by. Held up at your borders like I need a visa. The gates to the kingdom are shut tight. Tell me you can't let me go by. Held up at your borders like I need a visa. I think I've had enough. When where I come from is the only difference between us. We're non-stop riding, now I find what I'm looking for. When you say I'm not qualified for what's through that door, the gates to the kingdom are shut tight. Tell me you can't let me go back. Hell up at your borders like I need a visa. The gates to the kingdom are shut tight. Tell me you can't let me go back. Held up at your borders like I need a visa. Need a visa.
Okay, go.
So we're back again. We listened to Visa, and I have a lot of questions to ask you about this
Okay,
one.
cool.
But before
Did
we
you guys
do so,
like it?
like we have Khaled Falafel, so he said Malak, the owner of an angel voice,
Oh, thank you, Khaled.
and and again, Marwa Gamal says hi, Malak.
Marwa! Sorry, she's my friend.
Yeah, and then like she's saying, shout out to you from me and Khaled, Toronto, Cairo
I miss you
Entertainment.
guys.
And she says Malak was the opening act for one of Toronto, Cairo Entertainment's events.
Yes, I was. For Masarik Berry, they're like a
Exactly,
dope,
Masaryk
dope,
Berry.
dope Alexandrian band. All their songs make me cry. They're so good.
Exactly, and Khaled Falafel is going again, best voice ever with
Thank
art.
you. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you so much. That's so nice.
So actually, yeah, this song Visa. So you wrote the lyrics.
I did,
and you musically composed it. So
I did.
It's like everything you did there. So Visa.
It's I just need to give credit where credit's due. It's co-produced with me and Dean Watson, producer in Ottawa, who's an excellent producer.
Awesome. And Visa, being a second generation immigrant, coming originally from the Middle East, Visa is a big deal. It's a scary thing,
it's
actually,
the one word you want to hear.
For people from most parts of the Middle East, or and many people coming from different countries around the world to come to the West. Visa is the very first impediment, the very first hurdle that they meet.
Yeah.
So how did he come up with this song? Were you was like your own experience, or like?
Yes, man. Okay, first of all, hi Faze, thank you for joining. Hi Hazem. So I think that I wrote the song about. I think that it can be understood in multiple ways. I mostly wrote it about not directly getting a visa to get into a country. It's mostly about how a lot of people in today's society, in 2019, almost 2020, still get denied opportunities purely based on who they are or where they come from, and not based on their merit, which I think is ridiculous.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's
who
2020.
you are, not what you are.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's why you see people with PhDs driving taxi cabs, and there's nothing wrong with being a taxi driver, but if you have a PhD, you should be working in the field that you were trained to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really believe, I understand the idea of, this person's degree they didn't study their degree here, so how's it going to translate? Okay, create some kind of orientation program, to translate all of this knowledge into something that works for the country that you're in, so that these people's talents aren't wasted on on them working in a field that doesn't suit them. So that's what I mainly wrote the song about people just not having access to opportunities purely based on where they come from or who they are, and not based on their actual skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about yourself?
Myself?
Yeah. I think there was a part of you as well in this song.
This song, I think it's a lot about what I was talking about before. It's about me discovering myself and what I stand for and who I am. And I think that there's still a little bit of racial discrimination in the workforce here, for sure. I think it's much better than before, 100%, but I think we've still got a ways to go. So personally, the song is about me coming to terms with who I am and not having to apologize or make excuses, and just being like, yes, I'm from the Middle East, and yes, I'm good at music. What?
Yeah, and you're Canadian too. Like you
Yes.
have to accept me for who I am.
Exactly. And I think it's really unfair to be like, well, like, do you consider yourself more Canadian or more Egyptian? It's like, I'm both. I've had formative experiences in both places. So there's no, like, I believe both of them exist together on the same plane, and not like I'm more Egyptian than, you know what I mean? Like I have both in my heart. Yeah.
So you see them as like they complement each other. So there's no paradox really there.
There is no paradox. I used to think there was, but there's no paradox. Yeah.
So speaking about this again.
Hi, Janet.
So, you applied for The Voice.
I did.
In the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And why did you think of applying for The Voice in the Middle East? Like, did you try applying for other similar programs like in North America?
I think I only tried one other one, which was La Voix, which is the Quebec voice. The Middle Eastern voice I didn't really think about it. Just kind of landed in my my line of vision. I got the idea from a radio show host that I had done a radio show with forever ago. She messaged me. She's like, hey, like, The Voice are accepting applications. Do you want to apply? Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's an idea. I didn't really think about it. I didn't know they accepted singers that sing in English. I thought it was just Arabic singers. But watching the previous seasons, I see that I'm incorrect. And so I was like, okay, why not? I'll apply. And then I sent in, I sent in my application, and they're like, okay, we'd like you to come in for the blind auditions. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I never thought I would be part of something so huge, and not only something so huge, but something in the Middle East, where I come from, but that is also quite international.
Okay.
Do you know? So that was a big deal
definitely.
for me. Like, I've gotten asked, like, well, why the Middle East? Why not something else? And it's like, well, a little part of me, I think, wanted to return to my roots.
Okay.
To kind of, because I could feel myself not forgetting, but just like losing touch, like, because I'm older now. I've been here for 8 years, and I've had a lot of influence from Canadian culture. And I just feel like I just need like a big, like, just a shot of Middle Eastern. I just need to be like, I need it to explode in my face, like a lot of Middle Eastern country all at once. So so that's, I think, what made me so enthusiastic about doing that. And then when I did the blind audition, it was so surreal, because like in a moment your life changes forever. As soon as a chair turns, it's like your life is forever changed. Like, that's it. It's like you were in one place, and then all of a sudden you're in another. So and I think what's cool is that all of the judges in this season were people that I listened to as a kid.
Yeah, they're all superstars.
They're all superstars, and it's just really surreal seeing them up close in person and having them talk to you and comment on your voice. Like, it's so cool. It was really cool. It was a very emotional.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be touching more on this, but before going there, applying is something, but really going there and really being on stage. Did you have some, I wouldn't say artistic, but did you have any cultural fears?
From going on the stage?
From going on the stage, singing in English?
Yes.
In a Middle Eastern show? I
did. I wasn't the only English singer. I think I was scared of being seen as a foreigner by them, by the people in the show, by my other contestants that I was with. I was scared of being seen as a foreigner when I very much considered myself one of them, because at that point my Arabic had gotten a little bit weaker. Now I feel like I'm like back to fluent again, because like I spoke it straight for 2 months.
Okay.
But at the time when I went, I felt like I couldn't express myself in Arabic. So I was like, oh, like I just feel like these people aren't gonna like me. Like, they're gonna think that I'm just some North American girl coming to whatever. But I found that the more I accepted myself, the more they accepted me too. So yeah, I truly believe it does start with you. Like, if you, anyway.
So actually, like on the other hand, you said that you tried applying for something in North America, and then you applied in the Middle East. But did you ever have this feeling that you were between the hammer and the anvil, that, like, people from both backgrounds have always doubts about me?
Yes.
So in the Middle
my
East,
God.
I'm not Middle Eastern enough. In North
I'm
America,
not Canadian enough.
And Canada, you're not Canadian enough. Exactly.
Yes, I feel that all the time. I still feel that sometimes, because, like, Yes, like I talked about, like I was scared that they wouldn't think I was like, Arab enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then here all the time, I'm scared that people are going to think I'm not Canadian enough because of the way I look or the way who I am or my background or all that stuff. So
Okay.
yes, that is something I struggle with all the time. Like I said, I do believe it starts with you. So I'm trying to, within myself, accept that I am enough of both, and I believe that that's going to ripple effect out into the world. And I think that a lot of people feel that way too. So
Definitely, absolutely.
yeah, I think that's something I
Absolutely.
neglect. Like all of the inner struggles that I have, like a lot of other people are experiencing that too. And so I think that when we communicate, we want to accept each other because we also want to be accepted. So I think it's important that with other immigrants or other people with dual nationalities that we actually like communicate. We like get to know each other. I don't know a lot of Arab Canadians in Toronto. I know a few, but not a lot. I know there's a lot. So I think the fact that there is a community here, it's important that we do accept each other for who we are.
So you think you've reached this sort of healthy balance between both?
I think I'm striving for it. Yes.
You're striving for it.
Yes, it's definitely better than before. I'm prouder of myself. I'm more vocal. I'm more fearless. I found that in the beginning of the competition, like my growth from the beginning of the competition to the end was I came in as this really shy, not shy, but just like really polite. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. And then slowly it became like, okay, I need to be loud. I need to be loud. People need to hear me.
Okay.
If they're, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think that being really quiet about it is not going to help. I think you need to be just like, this is who I am. Yes. So slowly I'm becoming more like that. I'm louder.
Yeah. So like this is your experience. I think a lot of, people your age or like, would be really interested in this experience because like you said, a lot of people go through this.
Yes.
Torn between two different worlds. And which side should I take? Should I take this one or that one? And so on and so forth. But you can absorb both. You can live both simultaneously.
And I think that they both make the other stronger, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I only experienced more Egyptian and Middle Eastern pride because I left. And I only experience more Canadian pride because I know that it's balanced out with this other completely seemingly clashing culture. But do you know what I mean? Like my pride increases because I have both. I don't think I was this proud of being Egyptian when I lived there. I didn't know what I had until I left, until I lost it,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. But until today, when you want to sing for yourself, would you always go for Arabic or English?
You mean usually when I would sing, like what's my go-to?
Yeah.
English usually.
English again.
But I really do enjoy singing Arabic, but I find that because I spend most of my time here, it's only like a special events case, when I do sing Arabic. Yeah.
And what kind of songs would you sing in Arabic?
Usually, okay, my favorite ones to sing are Ya Lalali and Ana Qalbi Dalili and اعتزلت الغرام. And ألف ليلة. I really love saying that one. I know that Kulthum is really hard and like people get like really like, you don't sound like Kulthum. You know what I mean? Like, but I sing it in my own way and I really enjoy it. So
can we try that?
Sure. Which one do you want to hear?
Whichever. Like.
Okay. Do you want to do an Qalbi Dalili?
Yeah, sure.
How about that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see if I remember the words. أنا قلبي دليلي قال لي هتحبي أنا قلبي دليلي قال لي هتحبي دايما يحكي لي وما صدق قلبي أنا قلبي دليلي حبوبي معايا من قبل ما أشوفه قلبي ده مراية مرسوم فيها صورته شايفاه في خيالي سمعاه بيقولي يا حياتي تعالي 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 يا حياتي تعالي تعالي تعالي
غني لي تملي قولي لي تملي الحب ده غنوة كلها ألحان أنغمها الحلوة أحلى أنغام أنا قلبي دليلي قال لي هتحبي دايما يحكي لي وبصدق قلبي أنا قلبي دليلي
No, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And you know, something I noticed as you were singing, and you know, like, you know, my heart is my guide, El Vidalili.
Yes.
And it's a very popular song by one of the greatest stars ever.
Yes.
A legend, really, Leila Murad.
Yes, Leila Murad. I sing the Magda Rumi version. That's the one that I use as a reference because I saw it's a video of her when she was like 16 and it's black and white and she's singing it with like this little opera part in the beginning.
Exactly. This was my comment, and because you're singing this song by a Middle Eastern singer, an Egyptian singer, but you're giving a Western flavor to it.
Yes.
Which is, I think, something that might be unique. Like,
I think it's there's mixed opinions about it for sure.
Yeah. And do you think that this is the way you sing it is like, this is who Malak is?
I was definitely saying it my way. I am actually taking Arabic voice lessons right now because I want to at least understand what it is I'm doing, you know, because I'm just kind of saying it for fun. Like I sing it as I hear it, whereas I know that there's a whole different like dictionary of techniques that you need to understand and different scales, like completely different musical scales. So I do want to learn, but in the end, I am going to sing it my way, you know.
But did you ever try to sing these Arabic songs in front of like
an audience?
An audience that non-Arabic speaking audience.
Non-Arabic speaking audience also, yes. Yes, they enjoy it. I've gotten, actually there have been, I'm a little selective with where I do my Arabic songs when there is a non-Arabic speaking audience. But usually when I do my set, and then I usually just have one Arabic song in there, they come up to me and they're like, that was my favorite one. You know?
Okay. And speaking of
Arabic music hits you different. I really believe that. Like
definitely.
English music for sure, like it makes me emotional and everything, but there is something about Arabic music that just, I'm just so in the moment when I listen, you know, it's just different.
And talking about cross cultures here. And so you sang Arabic songs in front of like, you know, English speaking audience or like non-Arabs.
Yeah.
And you sang English in front of an Arabic audience. How did both of them receive it? Did they receive it in the same way, or like, do you think that one of them was more receptive than the other, hearing something that was foreign to them or something that didn't really belong to their culture?
Yeah, that's a whole okay, I'm going to talk for a little bit, okay?
Sure,
so
absolutely.
I think that recently, actually, no, let me start again. I think that it's easier to improvise and have your own personality shine through in English music than it is in Arabic music, because in Arabic music, we're very focused on tradition and are you singing it right?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas English music, I'm sure it was that way with English music, but nowadays it's like some singers, there's singers that are popular now that have no technique, but just the flavor of their voice is just so captivating. Do you know what I mean? So I think that singing things differently, singing things non-traditionally is easier in English. So when I performed for The Voice, the audience, you know, they enjoyed it, they clapped, it was a great reaction. When I sing Arabic, mostly people are like, oh, that was wonderful. You know, they always also react positively, but sometimes I get the comment, well, like, you know, you need to work on your quarter tones, or you need to, you know what I mean? I think that artists are coming out now in the Middle East that are a bit more modern, like like Masarek Beri or Kairoki or other like post 2005 bands where the rules kind of don't matter. And I think that aesthetic is starting to catch on in Arabic music, but it's not quite there yet. Like, we're still very traditionalist about.
So I think
Arabic
the
music.
Arabic listeners are setting the bar too high again and too technical. Like
They're setting it too specific.
Oh, too specific, too technical.
Yeah.
Are you singing right? Like much more than like the quality of your voice,
Yeah.
or like, how passionate you are singing.
Art is about interpretation.
Okay,
and I believe that every artist has the right to interpret an art as long as they are doing it, they are honoring it and doing it justice. Like, every artist has the right to perform an art in the way that they believe, they are able to express it best. And I do believe that applies to Arabic music as well. And, tradition is important, but also I think that individuality is important too.
Absolutely. And so you were in The Voice, and you were watched by millions of people, absolutely, and a lot of people here, I'm sure, enjoyed watching you on that show as well. So I think everybody's curious. So what's next? What's your next step?
After the show?
Yeah. Are you planning to do this again in another show?
I would like to. I think, I haven't really planned for anything yet. I think I'm trying to just settle right now and focus on releasing some original content. I've only got this 2 songs on Spotify right now. I want to have an album up on there. Mm-hmm. And then I think I would consider going back. I think I would go back to the Middle Eastern one. I think.
Oh, again.
I think, yes,
again.
because
okay.
I think that I want to go back and sing Arabic.
Okay, so you're going back with a vengeance this time.
No, not a vengeance.
A sweet vengeance.
That's because I went there as an English singer, and then I would like to experience it from the other side.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
definitely. So let's go on another short break. We'll listen to another song of yours. So don't go away.
Swallow. I'm accustomed to the pain. It's custom made for me. Oh, I was your baby doll. Now I'm your drunken call. I breathe in the air you breathe out, baby. I believe in what you're about. I breathe in the air you breathe out, baby, and I believe in what you're about. Yeah, my heart built a swallow. Yeah, so intense and oh so hard. Yeah, you left and said I couldn't follow. Yeah, you're a hard pill to swallow. You're something special. You're something special. And I breathe in the air you breathe out.
Oh, that's great. So you heard part of it live, everyone.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, beautiful. So we're back again with Malak and Sana Oscar saying Manawarin. So interested, and Talent Voice 2. Best of luck in The Voice.
Thank you. The next episode's a Saturday, guys. Watch it. I'll be in it. It's my battle against another girl who has hair like mine.
Battle of the hair.
But we called it the curly battle. Like, we were like, you guys should make it a hashtag, like hashtag curly battle.
So, actually, you have this wide plethora of talents, actually. So you're a singer, you're a poet, I would say. You write your own lyrics.
Poet, lyricist.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. And again, you're a composer, you play the music. Mm-hmm. Which one, are they all equal in your heart? Do you have an equal passion for all three?
I have. Oh man, that's such a good question. I have an equal passion for, I think, Okay, I thought I had an answer, but I don't. I'm trying to think of what my favorite thing to do is. So I love singing. I love singing. I think that's probably my first love. Like singing is definitely like up here, because whether I'm singing my songs or someone else or like covering a song, I just enjoy doing it. I just want to do it, because even if I'm singing somebody else's song, I'm interpreting it my way, and so I'm just able to express myself. So I just love singing. I think singing is number one, and then underneath that is I love writing songs. I love writing songs. I love being in the studio and recording them. I think that the thing I love most after singing is songwriting, I think.
So, but are you ready to write songs for another singer?
Yes. I'm actually doing that now.
Okay.
I'm writing songs that I'm going to pitch, because I would love, because I have so many ideas, and some of them don't work for me personally as an artist.
Okay.
And so why not just, have it still be out there in the world, but through somebody else's voice,
So you really have this passion in you. So it's
very much.
Not only,
I love writing songs, and I love writing songs with other songwriters. That's like writing songs alone. I like it, but what really gets me like excited is writing with other writers, co-writes. Like when
you collaborate together, and like
it feels so good.
Put your minds together.
Yes, because it's just a completely different point of view, and it just makes it better that way, Because when you're writing by yourself, you're in your own head and you don't have perspective on, is this good, is this not good?
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously a point where you can tell, but sometimes you're like not sure, and so. Like for example, like the way I'm doing it right now, I'm doing it remotely with these two other songwriters. Like they sent me like a produced track with a few lyrics sung over, and I took that and I corrected the lyrics, and then I wrote a whole verse, and then I recorded that and sent it to them, and it's just this nice back and forth, and
awesome,
it's
definitely.
So fun.
And I think it gives you a much more profound perspective.
Yes, definitely.
It's not only from one angle. Again, about this point, are you more comfortable singing your own music and lyrics, or it doesn't matter?
I think that I let loose a lot more when I'm covering songs than when I'm singing my original music. And I know you wouldn't think, right? But it's because when I'm singing my own songs, it's like I'm putting myself out there, like those songs came from like deep down here.
Okay.
So I'm like bearing my soul to the person who's listening to the song. So that makes me a little bit like, I mean, it's not like I'm this like, scared little mouse when I'm on stage singing my songs, but definitely like in my head, I'm like, I really hope they like the song.
You feel like more like vulnerable to
yes. And it's scary. Being vulnerable is scary. And I think like we as artists, we do that all the time. And I think that some people, like I know some artists who just like, they just don't care anymore. They just like, yeah, I wrote the song about, my mother who died, and I'm just going to sing it. And they sing it like it's just second nature, And I think I want to reach that point where like, I'm just so proud of my emotions that I don't care how it comes off, because I'm just being honest, and I know that, and that's enough,
And how does the process start for you? Because it starts differently for different artists. Like, like does something like, do you think you have a muse? Like
yes,
something that usually inspires you?
I think my muse is two things. It's music, believe it or not. Like ironically,
sure.
I'll get inspired by a lot of artists that I listen to, or some song that I hear in Shoppers Drug Mart as I'm buying like deodorant or something. Like I'd be like, oh, what is that? And then I'll actively not search it up, because I don't want to get too influenced by the song. But I'm just like, oh, like the song gave me an idea. And then my other muse is movies. I like to get inspired by themes in not like I won't write about like what happened in the movie, but like let's say there's this movie about called Brooklyn, and it's about a girl battling with her identity. She's an Irish immigrant. She immigrates to New York, and then she travels back, and she has to decide like, where am I gonna go? So that theme, I'll take that, and then I'll write a song about it.
So like you're affected by themes or genres of like movies, and and you think this girl was sort of a legal alien, so she's struggling with the identity, and whenever you find it's sort of like rings a bell, or like something.
Yeah, for sure. That movie made me cry so much. I totally was feeling her, the character. And I think
you start writing first the lyrics, and then
it depends. Sometimes it'll be a melody first.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll be the lyrics first will come first. Sometimes it'll be a drum beat first. You know, sometimes I'll be super inspired by a beat. So like I'm not a, like, I would say that I'm like an aspiring producer. So I will sit and like just create a little beat on my computer, and then I'll just have it on loop, and then I'll just start like like just singing along with it. And then if something sticks, I go to the piano, I write something, and then I go sing it over the drum beat again. And you know,
yeah. Speaking of the piano, did you choose the piano, or did the piano choose you? if we can say that.
I think my mother chose the piano.
Okay. So it's neither.
I think she saw that I was musically inclined, and so she was like, okay, let's take her to piano lessons. That's like your basic, like, okay, my child should learn an instrument. It'll be piano, because it's like, you know, it's the instrument all the kids learn, you know. So I didn't know. I used to complain about going to the lessons, but I didn't know how useful they would be later, because if I hadn't stuck with the lessons, I wouldn't be able to write as easily and as eloquently as I do right now, because it's so easy for me to just like find a chord progression or like, you know, or find or play a melody, or you know what I mean? Or I can play any pop song at all just by looking at the chords, and that's thanks to my piano lessons.
And do you enjoy playing? Like, do you think like playing on its own can satisfy you sometimes? Or
yes, if I'm playing for somebody else, I really enjoy it.
Oh,
actually.
you would enjoy
yes,
that
I
too.
do. I'm not the best pianist, so I won't get hired as a piano player for shows. But if somebody asked me to play, I'm usually happy that they did.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And did you ever consider learning how to play a Middle Eastern, like the oud or the lute?
Yeah, I actually took 6 months of oud lessons once, but because it was a specialized course in my university studies, I couldn't continue afterwards. And I think since then I just haven't had the
But would
chance
you like
to
to?
do it. Yes, I would really like to. I would like to sing. I would like to learn Arabic singing, and I would like to learn Arabic instrument like oud. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And you know, unfortunately, we're approaching the end of this very.
Oh, has it been an hour already?
Interview.
Time flew.
Exactly. Great times fly.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's right.
And how much do you think art played a role in changing your life?
Whoa, that's so deep. I think art has saved me on many occasions, because I'll find myself, if I'm going through something, I'll write a song about it, and then I'll sing it to people, and then they'll come up and be like, that song really resonated with me because I was going through this and this and that. You know, I think that we heal through connecting with other people. I really do believe that. It's hard to, there is something to be said for taking time by yourself and, you know, growing, you know, within yourself. But I think it's very valuable to connect with other people. And I think that healing happens that way. So art has helped me heal because it has brought me closer to people. I was playing, can I tell you a story?
Yeah,
I was playing a show. I went on tour this October to the East Coast, doing a concert tour. And after one of my shows, this lady came up to me and she told me, I'm a paramedic, and today I lost a 5-month-old baby. I couldn't save him. And I thought, I was just feeling so hopeless, and I just felt like I couldn't go on. And my friend forced me to come out to the show. I didn't know there was a show. She just forced me to come out for a drink. And then I saw you, and you sang, you know, I sang a Nina Simone song, Feeling Good. And then I sang another song about you know, that things are going to be all right. And she said, just all of the songs that you played were the right ones, and you healed me today. I feel like I can wake up tomorrow and carry on. And that moment, I was like, all the years of my life, just studying and working and hustling and grinding, and like this moment made it worth it, you know? So yeah, art has saved me. And the song that I auditioned with on The Voice, at the time when I discovered the song, I was going through just a really rough period, and I thought I was gonna have to quit music altogether. And then I heard the song, and you know, it's like it's rise up. You rise like the day, rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up and do it all again for you. You know, like it's so inspiring, and that song kind of helped me like just be like, you know what, no, this is my calling, this is my destiny. I'm gonna work hard, and it doesn't matter if it's hard now. It's you're building something, you know, and it's little ripple effects like that you don't see. You don't see the effects of the little things you do, but much later they come back to you, you know. Absolutely.
It resonates. And
yes,
and yeah, so art really helped you in your personal life.
Yes,
and even as an immigrant as well to
definitely.
like mix and mingle with everyone, and you were able to heal other people as well.
Yes.
you know, it's
I'm
something
grateful for
that
that, yeah.
really touches people deep inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
that paramedic was like we had a cry. It was very emotional. Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Again, like I said, like time does but fly, you know, and I think it was very, you know, I was definitely really inspired, you know.
Thank
like,
you.
yeah,
Oh, this was
absolutely.
so nice.
Absolutely. And can I share a little secret with the audience?
What is
Yeah,
it?
like so. Actually, I happen to know Malak
Oh, yeah, that's right.
personally, and the last time I saw her, she was just playing with my cousin,
Yeah.
and because yeah, like I'm sorry, like her cousin is my nephew.
Yes.
Yeah, her cousin
He's
happens
known
to be
me
my
since
nephew.
I was like 6
Exactly.
or something. Or the last time we saw each other, I was really young.
Yeah, like and I'm really delighted, you know, that she grew up now and like she's this shining star.
Thank
so
you. Oh, thank you for having me. This was
it was
so
a real
nice.
pleasure, Mel.
Yeah,
Real
and it
pleasure
was
having
a
you
pleasure
too.
for me. And thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, let's leave everybody on this sweet note with you singing something of your choice to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me think about it.
Arabic, English, whatever you like.
Okay, so I sang Arabic. I'm going to do English now.
Sure.
But let me just like take a second to decide.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Ooh, you know what? Why don't I sing that song that I sang for the audition? How about that? Does that sound
Cool.
good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
I'll sing like the short version because we've only got like 2 minutes.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
so this is called Rise Up. It's by Andra Day, and she's an incredible artist as well who inspires me. You're broken down and tired from living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find your fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains, and I'll rise up. Rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you.
That was excellent.
Thank
that was
you.
Really fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Touched on real great notes. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for
Wish
having
you
me.
all the best, really, and really looking forward to that. Thank you very much, our listeners and viewers, and really, you know, like, hope you enjoyed it. I'm quite sure they did, actually.
I hope so.
This time, yeah. And thank you very much again. And
can I like do just a little bit of shameless self promotion?
Absolutely.
Follow me on Instagram, malak.sound, Malak Sound, and Facebook, Malak Sound. So you can find all my updates. I'm going to be releasing songs very soon, so you'll be able to hear covers, originals, everything.
Do